Welcome everyone. We are doing another episode of of my podcast, the Ezekiel's Art Podcast. And today I have Gatieh, who is a Filipino artist that resides here in Spokane, who does amazing stuff and is such a great blessing to the art community here. So I'm going to invite him right now.
Awesome. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, Ezekiel, and to all the viewers. This is my first time, and it feels weird saying to all the viewers. But anyway, I'm Gatieh Nacario, and I'm an artist in Spokane. I'm a Filipino and a resident here. And yeah, and I do theater, and I'm an employment consultant. That's my day job. I help individuals with disabilities get a job. I develop jobs for them, and I'm also as a board of director of the Art Salvage and an active member of the Mad Collab Studios.
Love Mad Collabs.
Yep.
So my favorite question to ask people in the beginning is, what was your art journey? How did you start, and where did it go from there?
Oh, that would be interesting. I started when I got here 2019. I can't get a job. I was waiting for my work permit, so I went to the Garland Art District, Art Alley. I saw a lot of murals, and then I'm a prolific poster, so I just took a photo of me with all the murals in my background, and I posted it in my personal Instagram. I tagged Garland Business District. It reached to the president of the Garland District, Julie, and Julie messaged me saying, can you change the location to this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, sure, why not? And I said, oh, why not? How about I introduce myself? So I introduced myself to Julie, and I told her that I'm an artist, and I'm willing to do a mural in one of the spaces in your art alley. But however, I don't have any funds. And she said, no, I can make it work. And so that's how it started. I created a mural. It was purely voluntary. My mural is still there right now. And that's where I met Danny and Morgan and Anthony. And that's how it all started.
That's so awesome. So when you started making art, how old were you?
I know that I can do art as little as, like, I think as far as I can remember, during my first grade, I kind of like finished all of my pages in my notebook just sketching. And then my classmates would just go to me and just say, can you sketch me, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, I was awarded the best in art in class. That's when I learned that I am an artist.
That's awesome. So is there anything that draws you to a specific style? Because I notice you have many different influences in your art. What do you consider your art style?
So right now I think I have a brand. It's not pretty solid yet, but I feel like I want to focus on my subjects, whatever are my subjects. I want to color it with red, yellow, blue, the primary colors, and white in the main subject, just to be distinct with other artists or art, just to focus and highlight those are the colors of the Philippine flag. And so I kind of like leaning to that. So lately my art's been doing that. So I thought this could be a very good brand for me, because when I started doing art here after that mural, I thought of creating paintings. The subjects are all Filipino culture, Filipino tribes, Filipino whatever symbols. And then I realized people would appreciate it, but of course they need a lot of background story about the subjects. And so I realized I should not limit myself to just purely Filipino art, because I thought using my roots as my subjects of my painting makes me different, because I'm kind of thinking of how can I be different? That's all when I started. So, and then I kind of like, it's not really working, because not a lot of, there are Filipinos here, but every time I have vendorship and I have art showing, not a lot of Filipinos go to these events. So I thought, what would be my brand? And then after that, I was in a quandary. I don't know what to do. So I was experimenting on different styles. I experiment on different approaches. And yeah, there are those that clicked. I researched. I read some books. I look at videos because I'm not professionally trained, you know. So with that, and then last year, just the whole 6 months towards the end of 2022, I didn't do any art at all. I was lost. And then starting January, that's when I thought, okay, let me experiment on this. And I'm kind of enjoying it. So I think right now my style and my brand, I hope it will be more solid as the days go by. But it's more on any subjects. And then the main subjects of my painting would be colored, the Philippine flag colors. And then probably leaning towards the stained glass illusion art, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just like what's
I really love
my
that.
background.
So what inspired you to go with the stained glass look?
Oh, that's been in the going back to the Philippines. We have this very famous street dancing. It's just like a Mardi Gras, but it's religion based, and it's every year, and the whole island would stop just to celebrate. And I've been involved. It's called Sinulog. You can research about it. It's in Cebu, Philippines. It's every 3rd of January, every third Sunday of January. Anyway, so I was involved in that big street dancing project, and it has like stage productions, like backdrops, hand props, and I made a huge background of just churches, like window churches. And so I started it with, that's where it all started. Like, ooh, people think, ooh, it looks like real stained glass. And that's when and I taught art for elementary grades back home. And then every time I teach the concept of complementary colors, like color combinations, I use the stained glass abstract style art for my kids to learn color combinations.
That's brilliant. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an illusion. Stained glass illusion.
So my next question is, like, what captures your eye for a subject?
It depends. It depends. I think for the most part, bright colors.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if it's landscape, if it's beautifully, a still life. It could be just like abstract, just a play of palettes and colors, just throwing in. If it's like bright colors, that's what I'm drawn, Yep. Not particularly subjects. It's more of the colors in the art, in the picture.
Okay, so instead of it being heavy on the subject matter, you're trying to get the emotion through with the color?
Yeah, I just feel like bright colors expresses like vibrancy and positivity. It gives color. Color for life. Yeah.
So when you were younger, who inspired you as an artist?
I think my parents, of course, keeps on telling me, oh, you can be an architect, or you can do fine arts, or you can do design, fashion design, stuff like that. And I've been hearing that growing up. I've been hearing a lot of praises, but a particular person I cannot think of a particular person. I think no, but growing up, that was just a big impact on my part, like my classmates, my friends, until I reached high school, that I kept on drawing. And I have a brother, so we're 7 in the family. No, I remember. I don't know if he's my main inspiration, but I have a brother. He's the 6th. I'm the 7th. We're 7 in the family. And he's right now a civil engineer. And he does really, really good art. And growing up, he can do charcoal painting. He can do a lot of good stuff. And I see all his materials and all, and I just look at him, and I think I'm motivated and inspired by him, my brother. And now we're communicating. He's not doing it. He's practicing his being a civil engineer. And so he said, oh my goodness, I'm so proud of you. We just chatted, and he said, never expected. That's what that's how I see myself before as an artist, but you're fulfilling it for me. And I'm so proud of you. You're way better than me now. And that I think is inspiring. Yeah. Oh, my brother. I should take credit for my brother as my inspiration.
I love that. I've noticed a lot of artists that I've talked to on and off camera, what really helps them kind of start is that kind of early support system of friends and family. They're like, you can do this. And that's why I think it's very important for other artists to encourage each other, especially ones that are starting out. It's because if you don't have that support system of people telling you, you can do this, your own self-doubt will cripple you. And you're like, I can't do this. You know, I'm only so good. It's like, no, you're amazing. You can do amazing things. As long as you keep letting people know that, they'll be able to kind of integrate it and then express themselves. So my next question is, and I know that you do theater, so what drew you to theater?
Oh, because I do performing arts too. I mean, growing up, I like to dance. In the Philippines, it's more on, I have a lot of opportunities for me to express my art in dancing. So and then as I become a teacher, most of my trainings, which is school-based, are into like, we want to create a cultural dance troupe. So I was I got a lot of exposures on the authentic Filipino dances. So then I eventually became a part of the Philippine Folk Dance Society. I became an officer, and I started to teach folk dancing to teachers. And I was able to organize a group, started with the kids and then professionals. Professional in a way that they work, and then we just created a group, and then we perform in the different hotels in Cebu, because Cebu is a tourist destination and there are a lot of international guests in the beach resorts. And so we are hired to do 1 hour cultural dances in hotels. And so that's been my leaning. Although I also do jazz, but the training mostly are into that. That's why when I got here, although I had 2 theater experience in the Philippines, but that was in 1994, my first, and my second was in 2000. And theater is totally different in the US. In the Philippines, it's always school-based. And so, and locals don't support local theaters, and we don't have community theaters. So, but I have those 2 theater experiences based on the university where I work. And then when I got here, I thought, okay, I was singing in a karaoke bar here, and one guy just approached me and said, you should be in the Civic Theater. And I was like, okay. And I started researching. And then I just went there. In addition, that's how I started my theater journey here.
So what do you do now with theater?
Oh, right now I will be doing Escape to Margaritaville. I don't know if you're familiar with Jimmy Buffett. So
a little bit.
These are music of Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville. So this will be in August by Spokane Valley Summer.
Okay, so is the performance what's the performance like?
Okay, what do you mean? Like, I have a role. I don't know if this answers your question. So I got a role, but there will be a lot of dancing, and I have a solo.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, in my previous last year, August 2, with Spokane Valley Summer, I played a very interesting role, the villain, and I have a solo too. But I'm excited for this one because there will be a lot of dancing, and I haven't showcased my dancing in Spokane. There's no opportunity. But
can't wait to see it, man.
One, yeah. Oh yeah, I want you to be there.
Okay, so when it comes to dancing, what do you love about it?
Oh, I think it's more of movements, and I think telling the story about, because each specific Filipino dance is being researched, and there's a book. In fact, in every dance there's a literature that accompanies it, so you need to make sure you follow the what's in it, even the costume. You can tweak the choreography, the dance patterns, but the all the steps should be followed. So I think, and always each dance do have a story. There's a story behind it. And when I finished my master's degree, that was my thesis about Philippine folk dancing, how to teach Philippine folk dances to non-trained teachers. And it's just the story behind it. That's why every time we perform the for international guests in Cebu, the island where I live, I always do the voiceover thing. So the whole 1 hour run is like a travel to the different islands in the Philippines, and I give a little snippet of introduction of each dance. So that's how I love about it. It's like, what is this dance about? And in 1 hour, they will learn a lot about Philippine culture.
I love that.
Yeah,
it's such an amazing thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I wish I could do that here in Spokane, but with my experience, I cannot just stage if the dancers are not trained. You know, it will affect the appreciation. So I don't think it's possible for me to gather at least 12 people, and then we'll just do like 3 to 6 month training, and then come up with at least 5 dances. I cannot stage a Philippine folk dance that the dancers are not really trained. It will frustrate me.
I can imagine, man. It's
you
always have to have at least some sort of context and a lot of practice when it comes to anything that's like a physical performance. But one of the things that really fascinates me about different cultures is how dance works its way into every single human culture in different ways. But one thing that I love about, like as you were saying in your traditional folk dances, is it tells a story. I think we've kind of lost that in how we do dance to an extent now. There's a lot of dance moves and things you can learn online. I love dancing. I am not good at it. But I like the idea that it's more than just movement to music. It's a communication between people. You're telling a story. You're giving a piece of history to each other. And it's so symbolic and awesome. But I would love to see that more in what we call American culture, which is really just a ton of different cultures squished together. But so I think that would be really cool to see, especially here in Spokane. Whenever you can do it, I would really enjoy that. Because we need more storytellers in our lives, not just TV and films. Those are okay. But there's something different when you're with someone that's performing live with you. It's a communication. It's like a spiritual connection. And so, like, that's why I'm really excited now that I know you got something coming up in August. What day is that again?
Oh, that will be, I think the run, it will be in August, and the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th.
Okie doke.
Weekends. But I know we have Thursday, Fridays. So the opening is in a second Friday, I think. And I wasn't ready for the data, but it will be in August, but for the most part, the whole weekends are August.
I can't wait to see it, man.
Yeah. It's a beautiful story.
You do so much other than just art and dance. Could you explain a little bit of how you are trying to help the art community through Art Salvage?
Oh, yeah. Well, at first, my day job is I'm an employment consultant in a company called At Work. We do supported employment. So what supported employment is we have individuals with disabilities, and they are capable, of course, they're very capable of getting a job. It's just that they need someone to make sure, lead them to these opportunities. So my job is I have an individual that I need to look for volunteer work. And he doesn't do employment, but he needs to be out and about doing volunteer work and in a community where it's inclusive. No? And so I researched and I encountered Art Salvage. And they have a very good volunteer program. People would go there as if they're working. They get their tags, they sign in, and these are volunteer works. And Art Salvage is a creative reuse center, so they get donations. And so the volunteers will pack, will sort out, like, for example, buttons, papers, used pencils, crayons. And so what they do is they pack them and then put price in them and then display it in the store. So that's basically how the volunteer works. And there's a lot of donations. So that's how I started. And then I thought to myself, this is so cool. I love this. I love crafting. I like art. So I said, I might want to volunteer as a board of director. And so I did. And so my individual is still there doing volunteer work. And then I am right now helping Art Salvage promote, our vision and our mission of creative reuse, and then to help save waste. And that is a very, very, very noble mission of conserving. And so, yeah, that's one for Art Salvage. And I am right now inviting two of my friends that can do crafting, because we offer art classes in Art Salvage. But these art classes are leaning towards not really fine arts, but DIY. It's like using reusable materials, recycling, So I have a friend, Becca, that is in creating cell phone cases made of papers. And it turned out, so I'm looking at inviting her to do art class there. I have another artist friend, Anna, that is also into fine arts and does designs. But my God, she does so. I mean, it's just a seamstress too. She can create dresses made of recycled materials. She creates a lot of craft. And I told her, if you do this craft using recycled materials, Art Salvage, you should be teaching there. So I'm kind of, helping that. Aside from the Art Salvage community, I got friends like I've discovered they are an artist, and I want them to experience my experiences, to hang art everywhere. So there are already 3 artists that I helped hang art in restaurants, and I introduced them all to Denny.
Denny's the man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By the way, yeah, even before, as soon as I put the post up, before we even did the podcast, put the post up letting everybody know that we were going to do this, Denny immediately texted me. He's like, okay, do you have the video? I want to see it. And I was like, we haven't done it yet, but I'll send it to you as soon as it's done.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. I call him my art mentor.
Yes, he is such a phenomenal human being.
And I have to, I mean, you ask about inspiration, I think kudos to Anthony and Morgan, because when I was doing my first mural at Madco, when we started it, that was a stage where I still am not really sure of my art.
Mm-hmm.
I still have doubts. I'm not very confident to show. And then Morgan and Anthony just say, man, always remember this. You're an artist. You're different. Your art is unique. And that was very powerful. Yeah, and that changed my mindset. I don't care if I don't really like my art. This is my creation. I'm going to show it.
Mm-hmm. That's why I love them so much. They're very much about express yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it. Don't worry about what everybody else thinks. Be you. And that's why I love the atmosphere at Madco Labs. It's very much a relax. You're home.
Yeah.
You can be yourself.
I agree.
And so you have a lot of art at Madco Labs, and you mentioned a little bit about how you met them. What is your relationship with Madco Labs?
Oh, Madco Labs for me is, as you said, it's like a home, my art home. At one point, how I wish, if I don't have a day job and if I'm financially capable, I would just hang out there and just stay there and do my art. That's my relationship. I love this couple. These couple are just like, I know they're visionary, and I am confident that Madco will fly.
Me too.
It's just 3 years. I mean, give it 3 more years. Yeah, and they've been through challenges, I know, and there were some challenges. I was part of it, and I hold on to their belief, and I believe in their vision. That's why I'm still with Madco.
Right. So speaking of visionaries, what is your vision? Do you have a plan of things that you want to do, or are you going kind of with the flow of how you feel?
Right now, I'm kind of like go with the flow, but there are really times I can't deny it. But there are really times I'm just by myself, and I'm just like, it would be ideal if I have my own gallery.
Dude, you could fill up your own gallery so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, that at some point I was like, it's not bad. It's not bad to dream of that. I mean, that is a possibility. I can achieve that. I just have to work on that. If I want it, I just have to plan on it and work on achieving it. Yeah, that could be awesome if I have my own gallery. And of course, my reference is Denny and Medco. It's like, I have all these networks. I mean, I have you guys that would help me market and, support each other. So I have that aspect already. So let's see. But right now, I'm kind of like, go with the flow.
I feel that. That's how I am at the moment as well. That's why I like to ask people, because, like, as much as I love the idea of structure, I've also seen how structure can fail. Like, you'll have these big, grandiose idea, and you'll break it down to steps. But then something in life comes along the way, just knocks it into a completely different course. It's like, okay, I'm going this way now. So,
right.
But I would like to ask you, what do you think artists can do for their local art community?
Support each other, and provide a lot of opportunities to gather, to just sit down, discuss. I think that would be a good idea. I think the River Ridge Association of Fine Arts, which I am a member, I think they're doing that. They just sit down and, like, Chuck, the president, is creating a lot of, I think, events that just sit down and paint. They have monthly meetings, and lately I haven't been very active with the River Ridge Association of Fine Arts, just because I can't attend the Wednesday monthly meeting because it conflicts my job. But I think I should invite Chuck for coffee and just sit down and just tell him that, hey, I might not be physically present. I might not be very active in the email conversations, but I am so proud I'm a member of the River Ridge Association of Fine Arts. And that's Denny and Morgan are members in that,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think just provide that support. It could be like, provide opportunities, more artists providing opportunities for other artists. Like, man, what you've been doing right now. I mean, you should, I don't know if it's a good thing, but if people would do stuff like what you're doing, I'm just not into podcast and live and streaming. That's not me. Maybe I have my other way of supporting other artists, but you keep what you're doing. We need
I'll try
in this community.
And that's something that I think is very poignant that you bring up is, sorry, I'm still getting over a cold that I've had all week. Oh my God. But supporting artists, I think that's extremely crucial, because I've met some artists, especially here in Spokane, but they don't have enough of a support system. I'm like, hey, just get in contact with Denny. Just find someone that's in your local area that you can talk to. That is, you don't even have to be a successful artist, or successful by being like, I make $30,000, in 1 month by selling my paintings. Like, you don't have to go for that person. You need to go to the people that are artists that help people. Denny is one of the finest examples I can see of that. Same thing with Morgan and Anthony. There's people in every community that you can find, just talk to them. But once you talk to someone that can support you, go support other people. Find other people that are just starting out that are artists, or people that have been doing art and just like, it's just in their house and they've told no one. Bring those people in. We are a community, and that's how we'll survive and do better. And I think it's a beautiful thing that I really appreciate about all your work is it's very community based and trying to bring people together and more understanding.
I have this, so while listening to you, I just remembered, I have this friend, Janet. Janet is been doing art, and she's in her, I think she's in her 70s right now. I'm not so sure. No, I think she's in her 60s. Oh my God, I'm not so sure. But my father-in-law just reached out to me. Hey, you remember Janet you met 3 years ago that showed you a very beautiful oil painting? Go, yeah, how's she? Well, she said she wanted to do something what you've been doing. I said, oh yeah, of course. So I went to her house. Oh my God, her house is filled with beautiful, beautiful painting oil. And she never had shown her art publicly. I was like, are you crazy? I mean, these are beauty should be. And so I was so fired up. I introduced her to Denny. And right now, her art is at Indian Trail Yokes. If you have time, visit Yokes Indian Trail for March. It's for the month of March. You will see beautiful painting. And she's never shown her art, ever. As in ever. Like, you've been in Spokane. And so I felt so happy. I mean, connecting her to Danny. And two of her artists I think you were there when Janet was in Madco.
I believe so, yes. We were talking about the podcast at that point. That's when I invited you on. Yeah.
That was her. I'm talking, that's the girl. You met her.
Art is mind-blowing with how good it is.
You should visit her house. And a lot. I mean, Denny was just like, if I think Denny, there's one painting that Denny loves. And I said, if that is not in the wall, you know who's the guy that took it. But anyway, yeah. And I'm just happy. And she's just so expressive of how grateful she is to me. And say, yeah, of course, I can do that just if you want that opportunity. Just like Anna, my friend. I just went to her room and it's all filled with art. And it's like, you should know that. And make the long story short, she is featured by Denny's. You know, Denny does acknowledged art. And so Anna was there. And Anna did a lot of showing with Denny too. And they're connected now. Good. I'm happy for that. And I want to do that. I mean, yeah, I want to help artists.
And I think that's the most beautiful thing that we can do for each other, because I know there's some artists that will they'll look at other people's art and be like, you know, but like there's a ton of us artists that are really supportive of each other. There's always going to be a few narcissistic people in any group, no matter what. But that shouldn't let you feel fear that you can't go up and talk to people about your art. And I've noticed that a lot with some artists, or I've noticed some artists are very introverted, to where they're like, oh man, I just don't want to, you know, because your art is part of you, and they don't want to like necessarily put themselves on display, but it's like people want to know more about you. It's the whole human connection thing. That's why art is great, because it can connect people. And it's like, you don't have to be super extroverted, Mr. Vibrant, you know, like I kind of do that every once in a while, but I'm also an introvert. But, you know, you can be who you are and still show people your art. Just allow yourself to go with the experience.
Exactly. I agree. Totally agree.
And so I was wondering if we could see some of your art, because if I remember correctly, you said you had some with you, and if you'd like to put it up and kind of talk about it for a little bit. Yeah.
So behind me are my latest arts. These are just the last 3 arts I've done, and it's all stained glass illusion style. And if you notice, the first two there, the Philippine flag colors are there. Here, I kind of tweak a little bit. You can see yellow and blue and red, but it's kind of like dominated with purple and yellow. And I think I find this art interesting. In my TikTok, I said, I still don't know where to put my signature, because whoever gets it can just hang it wherever, what side he wants it to hang, you know? So I was like, in my TikTok, I said, I don't know where to put my signature there. And my boyfriend said, how about put it in the middle? I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, in the middle of the painting, it's just like in art, that's the middle part is it's where, if you want to emphasize it, if for the principle of emphasis, automatically it's in the middle. You don't have to do a lot of shading. You don't have a lot of, if it's totally in the middle, and I don't want to be the center of my art. But even then, if I put Gatieh here, facing that, meaning that would be the side. But what if that one? So should I write all my names like square over the middle? I don't know. I don't have any idea yet.
Could you do like four signatures, just very small and in each orientation, so that way no matter how you turn it, your signature is still there?
I'm kind of thinking of that. But you saying that to me somehow validates my idea. Like, okay, I'll do this. So, it takes someone to tell you something.
I feel that. I feel that so much.
Yeah, I might do all four. Right? So, thank you. Thank you. And then this one is just like I don't know, I just played on lines and curved lines and rhythmical rhythm, circular rhythm, and just did that and do some shading of the colors. This one is, of course, it's Angel. I know there are a lot of buyers there that loves Angel as a subject, so who knows, And then this one is...
Oh, that's cool.
And you notice there's Art Salvage logo.
Love it. Because
this is all Art Salvage stuff. I've made it into a collection. So these are buttons, and this one is like a frame, a used frame, and this is a metal like corner frame, and you see it's a wood. There's fabric, there's textile, and these are scrap from like a whatever. These are like, so I just collaged it, and the girl in the middle, the main subject, is actually my failed art. So this canvas is mine and it's a failed art. I just like, when I started doing this, in the middle, as I created it, I thought, I don't like it. It's not coming out. So this was just sitting for the whole year. And I thought, okay, come on, I think. So the circles in the canvas just match perfectly with the buttons. And so I put the frame over there and that middle frame. Yeah.
It really makes it pop.
Yeah. So this is all, and promoting Art Salvage and promoting recycle into fine arts. And my art will be in July. In July, it will be at the main library. In the central library. So I'm thinking to put a little bit of some arts that are interpretative, like some stories about the Philippines and the U.S. relationship. So this is just one of those. Like, there's a mention about the U.S. and the coconut tree in the Philippines. So I will be making like a couple of, just like, I think 4 to 5 interpretative. And it has something to do with, the story should have something to do with the Philippines, and it has a relationship with the U.S.
That's cool.
So people would be drawn to read, So, yeah. Yep. I've been busy. And, part of why I am so motivated to create these art because of our podcast.
I'm glad.
I'm taking advantage. So there's a podcast coming. I want to, at least I have new art that I can display, Yep.
So, I wanted to ask you kind of some more like technical art questions. What are your favorite color combinations?
The primary colors is a triad color combination. But I like complementary colors. I teach art for kids, and sometimes when I decide on colors, I still look at my color wheel, but monochromatic is the best. You don't have to think. Like right now, I just have blue, red, yellow, and I can create different colors. I just have red, blue, yellow, and I have blue and white. I have black and white, and I'm good to go. I can mix. I can create green there. I can create, But yeah, monochromatic is the best. You can just have one color and white, and or black. Just decrease the tone, with the black and white. I like monochromatic is the best. Second are complementary colors like purple and yellow. purple, violet, and yellow. They are very good color combination. They are complementary colors. Yep, complementary, yellow and purple, and then triad, which is the primary colors or the secondary colors, and then monochromatic.
So when you sit down to start creating art, what is your process of how you lay things down? Like, do you have a vision in your head that you want to put on the canvas, or do you kind of let the canvas do what it wants?
I need an inspiration. So lately I've been like doing some references, just looking at some art, which is not bad. I mean, as an artist,
it's a great thing.
Yeah, I mean, you need references, you need ideas, and then get different ideas, beautiful ideas from different artists, and then create your own. And so that's what I've been doing. So I just look at like for example, I'm thinking of a mermaid for my angel is a mermaid, and I was like, okay, I'm looking at, like, say, mermaid stained glass design. So I look at it, not good, not good, and then all of a sudden let's do real mermaids, like, and just fishtails, and then all of a sudden I get an inspiration, and then I just go there to my canvas and just stare and just sketch. The sketching and the final before coloring it is a long process for me. Like, make sure.
I feel that.
A lot of iterations. Doesn't look good. Change it. Just last night, I started a new art in preparation for there's this art gallery, New Moon.
I've been there.
They'll be doing a show, nude photos. I mean, nude art. So I'm creating that right now. That will be my entry there. So I was kind of like, last night, the whole night, 2 hours, it was just like making sure that, the human figure is tricky. The principle of proportion is very tricky. And I love your latest art.
Thank you.
Yeah,
because that's where cool. That one came out of me. I've been trying to not only study videos that I see online where, like, people are, like, explaining different proportions and how to draw gesture art. Like, I also have right here that's holding up my camera right now is in a book on art anatomy for artists. So I've been going heavily on that, but then I was thinking, what can I see in real life to figure out the proportions for me so that I have shortcuts? Because one of the ones that really frustrates me is hand size.
Oh, me too.
I agree. And so I was it was like 2 or 3 nights ago, before I did the painting, I was talking with my fiance, and I was like, I just stuck my hand in my face, and I was like, okay, can you stick your hand to your face? And she's like, why? I was just, can you do it for a real bit? And she did it, and I was like, okay, is it the same size as your palm? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so I'm not crazy. I can kind of just, if I need to divide up what the hand size is, just look how big the face is between the nose and the chin, that's going to be the palm size. So that helped me a lot. But it's like, still, it's then figuring out just the little different proportions that go, and then doing foreshortening. God, that drives me nuts.
Yeah, so shout out to Darren too for doing that Wednesday figure drawing sessions in Madco. That helped me too in improving my skill in, sketching human bodies.
I need to get him on the podcast too.
Oh, really?
I did an interview with him for Mad Collab's channel, but like right after I did the interview, my phone fell off of my desk, landed on a cup, and destroyed it. And so I was only able to get half of my stuff off. I still have the phone because I'm trying to figure out how I can get it, but I only have half the videos and photos from there. So I'm missing his old interview, which was awesome. But he is such a great person for setting this thing up.
Shout out to him, because he also made a lot of good comments about my sketches. In fact, he asked me to do a sketch of him using this photo, and he will do it somewhere like a cover of whatever he had planned. And for me, that was something, trusting me to create something for him. Yeah, and I'm excited. But what I'm gonna do right now, it's a nude photo. If it's a nude painting, but still sticking into my brand, which is stained glass illusion design. Let's see, it's my first time, and there's Philippine culture there too. So I'm excited for this upcoming art of mine.
I'm excited to see it because it sounds awesome. Do you do any like sketching exercises, or is there any kind of practice that you like to keep up?
No, I don't really have like practice. Don't have to practice. I mean, I'm pretty confident with my sketches. Yeah, it's in the. I think what challenged me more is on the lining. Like it's very when you do some lines. Like for example, in stained glass, there's a lot of lines there, and how can I make my edges so fine? So it needs precision and patience, control. I think that's something that I need to practice.
Mm-hmm.
I need to do some drills maybe, or I need to get really good brush. But I think it is still something about, you know, there's a technique there, you know, but so far I've been doing good, but I know I can still improve on that, making sure my edges are just fine. But hey, this is art. You can, you know, you can tweak it. That's why it's not really a pressure.
Mm-hmm.
You know? If something doesn't go well, I mean, it might be an opportunity for you to explore and discover different styles. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So when you're doing your art, I'm gonna have to cut that out of the podcast when I put it on YouTube. When you're doing your art, what does it feel like? Do you get it like any sense of kind of like a meditation, or what is it to you? What does it feel like to you?
It's not more of a meditation. I don't think I have that thinking. Usually, my bedtime is 12. So when I get home from work, like around 5:30, between 5:30 to 6, that's when I just sit in the living room, TV's on, and then actually I'm not focusing on anything. Do social media, all my social media, and then all of a sudden if I get bored, I just started scrolling and looking for inspiration. And then while doing that, I might nap. There are chances that I nap and then I doze off. Just like, and then if it's already like 10:30, that's when I am very creative. So
I feel that, man.
So I just go grab a canvas and just there's no such thing as meditation or something. It's just more of my creative juices will turn on at 10:30 and it's up to me to turn it off.
I love that. So
yeah.
when you're at that stage of staring at the canvas and in between drawing, is there anything that you're thinking through, like any kind of process of like trying to figure out where you want to put the lines?
It depends. I used to do some patterns, cut out patterns, make sure that the proportion is good, and I make sure that I don't have a lot of lines in my canvas because it affects the color, you know. But I used to do that, and then all of a sudden I quit doing that. I just start sketching, and then and so I got a good like eraser that makes sure that it kind of like erase the line that I don't need. And yeah, I just last night in particular I was just like start sketching. I didn't do any patterns at all. I have few references in mind. Some of the references that gave me an inspiration, but of course there were a lot of tweaking, a lot of changing, and a lot of I don't like that idea, but I'll do this, you know. And so it took me like 30 minutes to finally convince that okay, this is the sketch. I'm ready to paint. Yeah, but that 30 minutes to have a lot of staring, you know, but not, and then finalizing it, you know, convincing myself that's good. I have that.
Yeah.
I'm not yet convinced of this. Yeah, yeah, just, I don't know. I don't have a specific process. It's just like allowing myself to go with the flow that I'm creative right now. I just want to do art.
Mm-hmm. Not trying to box yourself in to try to do anything, but let it kind of just come out as it is.
Yep.
I find that fascinating with the difference between some artists is some can do as you're saying, kind of go with the flow, but then there's very analytical ones that seem to be like, I have to make sure that the structure is perfect and it has to be this. And I find you can tell in the art there's like a tension in people that are very analytical when they do art, because it feels more stiff. If I'm understanding that correctly, because I can see when someone's like actually just letting themselves be and kind of go with the art, and it looks beautiful. And then there's other art that looks just as beautiful, but it looks kind of wooden, if that's the correct term. But I always wonder, is that part of the personality, or if it's like if it's just how they were taught to do art? Because I've noticed many people that are self-taught are really good at using just kind of the go with the flow method, where it's hard for people that have gone through rigid training of like, this is how you paint this is how you paint the eye. They have a harder time breaking out of that.
My take on that is, like, I'm an educator. I know about learning theories, and I think the easiest to model of learning theory is that individuals can be analytical or global.
Okay.
It has something to do with what side of the brain controls the individual. This learning theory of analytical global is something. If you're right brain, controlled by your right brain, you are global. And then left. I don't know if I switch it up. It's been like 5 years. But one side, right brain. If you're right brain, you are global. Left brain, if you are like analytical. I might, or I have to. I don't want to I don't want to mislead, but individuals. It has something to do with which side of the brain controls it. So analytical. These are those that are really into process and order, even when they're kids, even when they're young. That's how their brain is. Like, I am particular about if my teacher would tell me to do a project, I want to know what should be step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm just gonna follow that because it will assure me of good result. But global learners doesn't care if it's like, where would I start? I can start in the middle and still come up with the same answer. I think the very layman's term example is, like, for example, if you brush your teeth in the morning and if you get your toothpaste, are you going to squeeze it from the bottom up or just squeeze it anywhere?
Yeah.
How about you? Do you squeeze it bottom?
I squeeze it anywhere I can, really, honestly.
You're a global learner. You are a global learner. But, that means you are a global learner, meaning you are on that side of the brain. And most artists are global. There's a theory that all artists are global learners. They are free-spirited. They create creative ideas. So if this is just my take. I might be wrong, but if you are if an artist born global learner, and as you go through the process of going through art schools do have process. So art teachers, even if they're global, they need to stick to the analytical, because I'm a teacher teaching art. As a teacher, I need to be analytical, but I'm an artist. I'm a global person, but I need to follow the rules of the school that teach lines first. Then after lines, you do colors. Then after colors, whatever. In art, for you to understand lines and colors, just go ahead, scribble. So I think, if if an artist is like trained professionally, so they have that idea. So I think, and it's not bad. They can shift. They can shift to be analytical, or they're global, or along the way they kind of leaning towards, oh, I want to be analytical as I move forward with my art career, you know. But their foundation is always there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I love having conversations with other artists, because I have ideas, but I need someone to be able to talk with to get more information, because we can only have so much information as in our own perspective. And I really love the way you're talking about how all art, as far as we know, all artists start off as global and then eventually figure out what they kind of want to lean to. Because that makes a lot of sense for me, because knowing that most artists were, you know, that kind of free flowing, it made me very confused as to why there's some with a very more, as you're saying, analytical approach. And it just took me until you were talking about it to figure out, oh, this is why people lean towards different things. It's not that you were born analytical and you just happen to be into art. It's like there's multiple things happening that lead you into a different path. So where you could be right-brained, but also still balance your art with a left-brain approach.
There's another learning theory, the multiple intelligences theory. There are 8 of them, and one intelligence is visual spatial, SPATIAL. So we have all these 8: visual, analytical, verbal, kinesthetic, you know. So, and there's naturalists that you like nature, environment, you like plants and all. But all these intelligence, we have that in mind. But it's just that there's 1 or 2 that is dominant in us. So
I like that.
In fact, there is a tool there's an evaluation tool that you just answer it, and towards the end of that tool, it will tell you your intelligences.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that link and send it to you. It's interesting. And then when I answered that 10 years ago, of course, it discovered that my 3 dominant intelligences, of course, visual, spatial, kinesthetic, and then music. And then my lowest are introvert, you know, and because I'm a very extrovert person, so and then linguistics and mathematical, those are my lowest. Mathematical. I'm not analytical at all. But after time, if you take the test like after 5 or 10 years, or even 2 years, it will give you a different result, because we change as a person, especially in our experiences. That's Gardner's multiple intelligences theory.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah, I can share to you that link. That's a very interesting an understanding about learners and intelligences of individuals. I have a lot of learning theories.
Please send, because psychology fascinates me. I spend lots of time diving into philosophy and psychology, because there's something in there that it allows us to understand ourselves, and I think that's very important. Yep. But I like what you were saying, how we can change over time, which it kind of reminded me, if I recall, your IQ can also change over the course of your life based on just learning more. And the more that you practice one set of things, the better you'll become at it, and the better your intelligence will become at it. So it's a good thing to figure out what you're strong at, and then figure out what you're weak at, and then work at both of them in different ways, because then you can raise up your ability to do anything that you want. For me, I'm a very math afflicted person. I am not that great at math, but I do love the idea of it. But if I feel like if I practiced it more, or kind of looked into it more, I would be able to, I might not be naturally gifted for it, but I will be able to increase my ability to think in that way, which will help everything else in my life as well, which will help me be more global, because then I won't have to think in the analytical way, because that's already in my unconscious.
Yeah,
And so,
and part of it is the environment really affects learning. Like for
yes.
example, so the environment. So you say I based on experience. We have different experiences. Like for example, when I got here in Spokane, I don't have all these art and theater opportunities back home. I don't have them.
Hmm.
So now that I'm here and I have all these opportunities and experiences for me to explore more, so it supports my intelligence.
Hmm.
So going back in the Philippines, I might be visual, spatial, kinesthetic, and musical, but I tend to divert that. I need to be analytical because I'm a teacher and I'm an administrator. And I need to be analytical. So I kind of, if I took that exam, it for sure gives me a different result. And now that I'm here, I'm in a city, in a community where it would allow, and so people say, oh, you're in a community where it's very artistic. I think all communities are.
Agreed.
Yeah, like, oh, you're in
Agreed.
Spokane that is rich and the theater and the art community. I think all are. It's just like, it depends on what's your intelligence, I have this intelligence in me and I have this, and it's being supported.
Hmm.
So I am analytical and mathematical. I'm kind of like researching, starting about organizations that are into, solving community issues and problems and how to, that's not my interest. So
Yes.
all communities are, I guess.
Yeah. I kind of like that you're saying, like, it's not your interest, so like it's not something you're necessarily going to go into, but you already have the skills. And that really kind of, it reminds me of the Bob Ross quote, which I love, saying is, talent is a pursued interest. So what you're interested in will kind of give you the direction of how far your intelligence in that thing will grow. Because the more interested into it, the more you'll focus on it, the more you'll learn about it, the better you'll become at it. If you're not interested in something, you're not necessarily gonna like become a genius at it because you just don't care. It's not what you're focused on. And especially with the environment thing, like one of my favorite sayings is you emulate your environment. So if you put yourself into a situation where there's always artists around you, or if you say you want to be a businessman, you have to put yourself into a businessman's group. Feel the vibe, get to know people, and learn from that, and be in that environment, and you'll learn stuff by kind of just being there.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, I think my phone is almost dead, and we're at 1 hour.
Oh my
So
gosh. We're only on an hour?
Yeah. It was like a flash. But I saw my phone's like, you have 5% left. I'm like, okay. So, can you let people know where to find you and your art?
Oh yeah. My art, most of my art, I have some latest arts at Mad Collab Studios, and then I'm scheduled to hang my art in May and June and July. I cannot yet tell where for May and June, but in July it will be at the Central Library.
Oh, awesome. And where can people find you online?
Oh yeah, of course, check my Instagram account. It's Gatieh Art. So my name is Gatieh, so it's in the middle. So it's kind of like it's gotta be art or it's gotta be art. And so it's Gatieh Art. That's my Instagram handle.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna have to have you on again at some point soon. And yeah. I hope that you have an awesome day.
Thank you. You too. And thank you for inviting me, and thank you for scheduling me. This was so helpful, and I was excited for this.
No problem, man. And I had a ton of fun. Bye, bro.
Oh, did I just follow you?
Yeah.